Hey everybody, and welcome back to Josh Lioce's video blog. Now we're going to take a look back at the past 6 months of 2021 and talk about where the market has come and where it's going. Stay right here, I'll be right back. All right, welcome back. So it's July 2021, and I like to take a look back at the previous 6 months and see what happened in the real estate market. Where did we come from and where we're going? So we look at single-family homes, and we're going to look at Milford as a barometer compared to just looking at all the surrounding towns, just because Milford seems to have the most activity and really seems to be the most micro-local market we can evaluate and kind of compare to everything else around us. So we're going to start with listing inventory. We're going to look at some sales numbers. We're just going to talk about trends. So here we go. Let's talk about listing inventory. So the amount of listing units in Q1 to Q2 actually is up 16%. So last year we actually were at 15 units in Q1 compared to 16 units in Q2. And this year Q1 was 1 unit versus 16 units. So we're seeing a big, obviously, increase in inventory. Average days on the market in Q1 in 2020, there was 76 days on the market as average. And in Q1 of 2021, there was a 1 day on the market average. Now, compared to Q2 of 2021, we increased to 20 days on the market. So we're seeing a variable from year over year, Q1 and Q2, of a negative down about 62%. If we look at average month supply, Q1 of 2021, we had a negative 0.65 supply. So that means we have a negative supply of properties in the market, meaning if we stopped listing homes today, it would take us less than a month or less than 30 days to sell all the inventory on the marketplace. And looking into Q2, we're minus 0.2. So even a bigger drop in change in that inventory. If we look at things that were listed, average list price versus the square footage, in Q1 we had an increase year over year from 2020 of $12.47 average list price to in Q2 an increase of $36.41. So that's a huge increase just from Q1 to Q2. Now looking at the original list price changes, just looking at this last quarter, the original list price change versus last year is up over $75,000. Huge number. Now, things that went pending, if you look at what went pending in 2020 versus 2021 in Q1, there was basically a change of only 2 units. So very small change in things that went under agreement. In Q2, you see an increase of about 3 units. So we're actually staying pretty steady in regards to how many units are actually going pending and getting accepted offers on the marketplace. Average days to offer, this is very telling. Q1, Q2, 2020 versus 2021. In Q1, average days to offer of 2020 was 62 days on the market, where in Q1 2021 was 14 days on the market, a change of 48 days shorter to get a home, an offer on a home. In Q2 in 2020, it was 23 days, so we started to see that number come down in the spring market of 2020. And in 2021, we're seeing that number at 7 days, so a change of minus 16. So a huge drop in the amount of time it's taking things to get that offer. So now let's look at sold inventory and sold information in regards to some of those statistics, looking at those same Q1, Q2 timeframes. In 2020 and Q1, 49 homes closed, and in Q1 of 2021, 42 homes closed. So actually less homes had actually closed in that first quarter, which was showing that dropping inventory number, right? There was less things to buy and to choose from. In Q2, we see that swing change back, where in 2020 we had 55 units sell, and in 2021, 62 units. So an increase where that inventory started to climb back up. In April and May and June, you're starting to see that number swing up, and we're seeing that increase. Now, the average sales price in Q1 and Q2 was up year over year. So in Q1 versus 2020, we were up $27,000 in average sale price and $48,600 in Q2 year over year. The huge jumps in sale price information. And then we look at average sale price versus that list price, the percentage of how much under or over did those numbers sell. So in Q1, year over year, we had an increase of list price to sale price, or sale price to list price, of 5.58%, and in Q2, 7.83%. So again, seeing those numbers go way up. Now, just to kind of take all that information and wrap it together, we're looking at kind of just a year-to-date situation as of June 30th. 2021, kind of where are the trends heading? What does this whole year look like? And kind of where do you think we're going, or where do I think we're going? So if we look at year over year, year to date listings taken, we've had an increase of 11.72% in inventory, which is actually a little bit strange because it's certainly, you looked at the beginning of the year having such low inventory, but we're starting to see those numbers climb, and trends are that the listing inventory is actually up, or listings taken is actually up. Things that went pending also on the uprise, up 4.58% year over year. Obviously a good sign, more inventory, more things going pending. Average list price, not sale price, is up 1.35%. Now that does make sense, even though it does sound like a small number, but things are selling way over list price. So the list price actually haven't changed tremendously year over year. We're looking at only a 1.35 increase on average. Now those sale prices are really what's really changing the percentage in that number. So those are trending up as well. Number of listing units with price changes. We're seeing that phenomenon, which happens in a lot of markets where maybe things just come on too high. Maybe the property started in the wrong place and it needs an adjustment. We weren't seeing that a lot. We're seeing that obviously drop quite a bit with the beginning of the year and such chaos in the marketplace and multiple offers. So we're seeing that number drop 42%, almost 43%, that price changes are down. Huge shift, right? And then average original list price, square footage, just looking at square footage numbers, up 20.75%, which is again, very in line with everything else. Now looking at closed and kind of some of the sold data for this year over year, we're looking at 104 units were sold in 2020 in Milford and 104 units sold in 2021. So there is zero change in the amount of units that sold year to date, actually closed January 1 through June 30th. I thought that was pretty interesting looking at some of the other trends, but there is 0% change. Average days on the market is down 34 days, so a drop of almost 60%. Average days to offer is down 65, almost 66%. Average sale price is up 9.87% overall. And average sale price percentage of the original list price, which is one of the things I look at the strongest, is sale price to list price year over year is up 7.84%. So even though those list price averages are only up 1.35, those sales prices are up almost 8%. So a very interesting statistic that I look at is Lioce Properties is beating the average. Our average single family home sale price that we listed and sold is up over 8%. It's 8.11%. So we're above the average, which we're very proud of. So that's a lot of market statistics and data, and sometimes a lot of my videos don't really get into some of the nitty gritty and the analytics. But I like to stop every few months, especially halfway through the year, and look at where things are going. And where things are heading, I don't think anything's changing. I think we're going to see that inventory stay still very low, and that right now we're seeing about 15 to 20 homes on the market as an average over the last 3 to 4 weeks. Now, looking back 4, 5, 6 months, that was very different. You look back to some of the videos, we're talking about a handful of homes, if 1 or 2 on the market at any given time. So you'll see that trend continue. I think we'll get through the summer. You might see it trickle up again in the fall. You might not, depending on what the fall weather is like. Obviously, weather's not been great in the month of July here in central Massachusetts. So a lot of things will impact, but I just don't see many big changes coming in regards to how many units are on the market, pendings, and certainly sale price to list price differences. You are seeing a little bit of changes in the higher price points, but anything in Milford, anything under 500 is typically, if priced well and came to market correctly and in good condition, is still seeing tremendous activity and higher sale prices versus those list prices. So that's the outlook for where we're going. I know this is a lot of data, but I promise you next video won't be so much analytical. It'll be back to our interviews and market trends and some other interesting topics. So glad you're here. Truly appreciate you always checking us out. I hope you enjoyed this week's video. If you have any questions, certainly reach out and let me know. Otherwise, thanks for watching Josh Lioce's video blog, and we will see you next time. Have a great week.